Morning.
David, why don't you tell everyone when you got here?
45 seconds ago. Perfect timing, I assume.
Yeah, literally right as I got the 30-second warning to start the live stream, he walks in the door.
It's a perfect timing.
Kind of a little close there.
Oh, right on time. Right on time.
I don't know about that. All right, what are you drinking this morning? Your usual crap tea?
Earl Grey with honey.
Yeah, gross. Per usual.
Crap. Pretend coffee.
It's delicious. Oh, it's very minty this morning. I think I put too much peppermint extract in there. It's very minty. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to Morning Coffee. I am your host, Brooke Carlock. This is my ex-husband, David Miller. We are the parents of Libby, who passed away in a car accident 2 years ago, which is crazy to say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is what this episode is about. We are going to just be talking about what things are like at 2 years. And I actually have a list of questions because people on my YouTube channel and social media have been giving me questions for this episode that they wanted to ask us. So I wrote down all the questions. So I figured I guess we just start with that, with the Q&A. If you guys have any questions you want to ask us, feel free to drop those in the chat. And we are always open books, so we'll answer everything that you want to know. And yeah. All right. How's your day going?
Going.
Why did you walk in here 45 seconds before the show was about to start?
Because that's how time works.
Let me guess, you were in bed, not doing anything all morning.
Most of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to relax. Enjoy my Sunday.
All right. Fair enough.
Sleep well. I woke up at 4 a.m. So.
Oh, I had a dream about Libby last night.
Did you?
I did.
Don't worry.
And I don't get those very often, but I don't remember. It was two different situations, and they both had her in it. And one, she was really young, like maybe 5 or 6. And I remember I was carrying her, and we were like running through places, like we were trying to run away from someone, or like someone was like trying to find us, and we were like, I was ducking in and out of places, and I was like holding her. And then I totally forget what the other one is, but it was weird because it was like one dream, I think, but two totally separate plot lines. And I just remember waking up and thinking like, that was weird.
Yeah.
But it reminded me when I woke up from that, it's always like, oh, hi Libs. Like I miss you. But what really struck me was how much I used her as a security blanket. Which sounds weird. That sounds bad. But like I'm a super introvert. I talk about those all the time. Like I am very introverted. And Libby was so like stinking cute and like outgoing, and everybody just loved her. So if I was in a social situation that like I was uncomfortable, I'd always just like pick her up, or even when she was older, she'd just kind of like be near me, and she was like a little like, oh, okay, Libby's here. It'll be less horrible and awkward, and you know, just like holiday stuff and meeting new people and whatever. Like it was always more comfortable when she was with me. So I woke up and I just really missed that, like that security blanket feeling of like always having someone there to like be the buffer between me and other people. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah.
It was good.
It was.
My Livia Dreams, I always wake up crying, so.
Oh. Yeah. Sorry.
Just how they go for me. I think it's not necessarily a sad, like something sad was happening in the dream. It's just it feels so vivid at the time. I think that, you know, whether I'm hugging her in the dream or whatever it is, it just feels like she's there, and that's why I think I wake up crying, because then it like gets ripped away from me.
Yeah.
So.
Do you guys have dreams about the people that you lost? You can drop a comment, or if you're watching the replay, you can leave a comment underneath. I'm curious because I don't very often. I know you do more often than I do, I think, but I have dreams of her that often, but when I do, they're so realistic, and yeah, it's hard. All right, want to get into our questions?
Sure.
Sweet. Okay. So I'm just going to read through there, not in any sort of order. So hopefully I'm just going to sound a little disjointed probably because I just wrote down where people asked and didn't try to make any sort of rhyme or reason out of it. So here we go. All right, hold on. Rachel. Hi, Rachel. So I missed my son walking through front door with his big smile and dimples. He was a hugger. Gosh, I missed that. Yeah. Oh my gosh, Libbs was a hugger too. She called them big squeezy hugs, so she would like try to squeeze you as hard as she could. And, yeah. Oh, I miss that so much.
Yeah. That's the one thing I just wish I could have one more of.
I know.
One more hug.
I know. Ugh. Well, all right, this could be a rough one. All right.
I'm already kidding.
I know. Okay. All right.
That'd be a good one.
Again, if you're joining us, because I see people popping in by the numbers here, so if you have any questions for us, feel free to leave them in the chat, and we will be happy to answer. But I'm just going to get started on the list that I have. So the first one is, do you still cry every day?
Not every day, but lately it's been a lot more often. But just certain things, like yesterday, I went on a hike with a couple of my friends, Abby and Andy. Shout out to them because they've been huge supporters for me and really helping me through some stuff. And but we went hiking yesterday to put out some of the rocks that we did on her, for her to kind of put around Lancaster and all the different places we went hiking. And one of my favorite pictures that I have of Libby is from the trail that we went on yesterday. You climb kind of up to this gazebo area where you can overlook the Susquehanna River, and just looking at the picture and see the same trees. And I know I was in the exact same spot she was, and yeah, so cried there. Good times.
Yeah.
But, no, it is good. It's good to have those memories and stuff like that. But no, I don't cry every day. It's been a lot more lately. But if I had to put a number on it, I'd say somewhere between 2 and 4 times a week. Or 2 and 4 days a week, I should say. Just kind of depends on how the week's going for me.
Yeah, probably similar for me. Why do you think it's lately? Just because of the time of year and everything that's
I think it's the time of year. I think there just have been some conversations I've had and some thoughts that I've had, and also with the stones, putting the stones out and stuff like that.
So if you don't know, if you don't follow my social media or anything, on the anniversary of Libby's death date, we painted rocks with pictures of like positive messages and things that Libby liked. And we've been sitting them out and like hiding them on trails that we hiked with her. And in the hopes that people will find them and it'll cheer them up and it'll make them smile. And that's just something that we're doing in her honor. So yeah, it has been emotional.
Concept. It was very emotional for me.
Okay, I'll tell that story quick. So the very first time we painted the rocks and the first time we were going to sit them out, we went to a trail near David's house, and he had a special one in mind for this trail. Was it the laugh?
Yeah,
okay.
Laugh.
So, do you want to tell the story?
You can.
Okay, so, well, it was your memory, but okay, tell me if I did anything wrong. So, he had gone hiking with Libby at this one spot, and I guess it was muddy. It was like a boat ramp, and she went running down the boat ramp and totally wiped out in the mud and was like covered in mud. And it's one of the best pictures that we have of Libby because she's like crying and making this pouty face, but her favorite phrase was best day ever. Like, this is the best day ever. And she had a shirt on that said best day ever, but then she's covered in mud. It's like, totally like depressed look on her face with the best day ever shirt, and it's just such a great picture. So he had the idea to put the laugh rock at that boat ramp, so he sat it there, and then we went on the trail and like hit some more rocks and came back, and the rock was gone.
Yeah.
And he started flipping out. He's like, did somebody take the rock? He was so angry. He's like, what happened to the rock? And I'm like, somebody took it. He's like, why would they do that? And I'm like, that's the whole point.
I did not understand the concept. Because I found those previously too. I never took them. I always just read whatever message was on.
No, a lot of people just take them. Yeah. And on the back, we put on the rocks, like, for people to contact livelike.libby.org, and they can share a picture of it and, like, tell where they found it and stuff like that. And he was just so angry that someone took the rock.
I wasn't angry. I was upset. Because that one really, it was important to me. Like, whoever found that, please tell us. Check us out at least.
Let us know.
Yeah, it was just, I guess I didn't understand the concept because I literally just placed it on top of a giant rock where it was very visible. I was assuming it was quasi-advertising, just trying to get people to see Live Like Libby. And no, that's not the concept at all. People take them. And it's like, what the heck?
Yeah.
So,
well, that's why we're going to do it every year. And then we'll just replenish the supply.
I'll do one
people
every year.
can find
the same thing. And it was... I did much better yesterday in my hiding of rocks. Okay. So they should be
You're making it a challenge for people.
Little less visible.
Okay.
So
all right. So as far as the crying question for me, I would say no. I definitely don't cry every day. I'll say to start though, he is much more of a crier than I am and always has been. I've never been a huge crier. We are. You're the first one to admit you're a crier. Like, he cries at commercials. He cries a lot. He's very secure in his manhood. But I am not. I cry, but I'm not like a huge crier, I would say. I would say probably it depends on the type of cry that we're talking about. I probably have maybe once a week or once every other week, like a good sobbing cry. But I have lots of little cries throughout the week. Like a great example, I went over to their house the other day to visit with Max and Grayson and David, and there were 3 little girls that went by my car on roller skates. As soon as I saw these little girls on roller skates, I started crying. Like, I don't know why. I do know why. Libby liked to roller skate, and I took her ice skating once, and it reminded me of her ice skating. And just they were the same age, just similar looking. And the one like waved at me, and I'm just like in my car. And it's not like it wasn't a sob cry, but it was like a tearing up, like I just miss my daughter cry. So I get that a lot where I kind of tear up, but it's not like the hysterical, can't breathe kind of cries.
That one didn't get me. Luckily, I pulled into the house and I saw them go up and like gap in the car, and this one girl just wiped out. And for me, it flipped back to her first birthday after we separated. I took her and, friends and whatever. I let her invite a group of friends to roller skating.
Yeah.
And her one friend was very able to skate, and the other one, Karina, was not able to skate really well. So she was falling a lot. And of course, right at that moment, one of the girls just went down. And it was just like this flashback of Libby and Karina. And I was just like, oh gosh. Luckily, I was talking to my mom though, so I was able to hold it.
You held it together.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so hopefully that answered the crying question. It's not daily anymore, but at a minimum weekly. And again, it just depends on the type of cry that you're talking about. Okay, so we have a couple comments I'm going to throw up here. Jill says, we are grandparents of a 16-year-old grandson who died a year ago. Our grief is pretty intense at times. Yeah, I can imagine. Our grandparents who were caregivers early in his life.
I think she finished. I think she.
Oh, yeah, down here. Yeah. To finish my thought, we grieve for our son and grandson and have a great sense of loss. How do we cope with this all? It's a process, Jill. I mean, you're a year out, a year. It's still so early. And yeah, it's just a process that you have to go through. And I would say acknowledging it and feeling your feelings are probably the biggest things for me. I think that what gets people stuck the most is not allowing themselves to feel all of the emotions. And I know I was guilty of that for a while too. So just letting yourself feel everything, not trying to bottle it up, talking about your grief and kind of telling your grief story is super helpful.
Don't one of the big things, and we've said this before, and my aunt was big on this too. She kept asking me, am I doing it right? Like, don't worry about how you're doing it, just do it. The grieving process is unique to every single person, because your relationship with the person that you lost is different. Brooke and I have very different relationships with Libby, so our loss and the way we grieve is very different. And we were just talking about that the other day. You were bringing up like a show or something that she watched, and there were a lot of things that Libby did with you that she did not do with me, and vice versa. So allow yourself to go at your own pace and don't worry about what everybody else is thinking. But like Brooke said, as much as you can and are willing to talk about it, I think that is a huge help. I think to get anything out is a huge help to kind of work your way through the process. There are some times where people bottle it up and they don't get out some of that emotion that needs to get out. And by talking about it, I think it can really release some of that emotion that you have kind of bottled up and bottled. I'll say that 5 more times.
I hope that helped, Jill. If you have any other questions, just holler. Rachel, okay, one more thing. Don't want to hog the time. Rachel, don't worry, you're fine. That's what this is for. After 2 years, all of a sudden, I'm contacting the rescue squad and trying to get the information about exactly what happened that day. Yeah, that's tough. I think that's natural to want to know everything. I would just be careful that you don't uncover things that you can't get out of your head. I think we ran into this, and really the one thing that people ask me a lot about with Libby is that we didn't get to see her after she died. They wouldn't let us near the car at the accident site, and they didn't let. I think at the funeral home they would have let us, but they basically said, "Please don't." They had a bunch of people there telling us, like, we can't stop you from seeing her, but you do not want to see her. Two things with that. One, your brain kind of comes up with
1,000 things,
pictures on its own,
they want me to see it,
which is horrible. But in my personal opinion, not knowing was way better than having that concrete memory that I can't get out of my head.
Yeah. So
that would be my advice. Obviously, we can't tell you what to do, and we're not like, that is a really hard question, but you can't unknow what you find out, and that would scare me. I think because a lot of times the more you know, the harder it is to get over things. And
I'm afraid that would be the only thing I would see
yeah,
for the rest of my life. And that's not how I want to remember Libby. And I'm sure it's not how you want to remember your person is in that moment of, when they passed. And that's not what we want to remember. So again, we both went through this, when the police report came in. I read that, and I luckily there was nothing really in there that, any description of Libby's, how she was or anything like that. We never got an autopsy report, thank goodness. Those are things that, looking back at the time, again, they tackled me and said, no, you're not allowed to go there. And I am thankful for the first responders that did that, because at the end of the day, it would have probably haunted me and made my grief process way harder.
Yeah,
for sure. But it's hard not to wonder. I know that. So
yeah,
it's a tough one.
I feel like the more details you have, the more it is to have to, I was going to say get over, but that's the wrong word. The more you have to deal with. Sometimes the not knowing is hard, but sometimes not knowing is better in some cases. And I'm not trying to talk you out of whatever you feel like you need to do in your heart. Like we said, grief is 110% individual. Do whatever you feel like you need to do. But I just know for me, sometimes I'd rather not know. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I hope that helped. Jill. Oh, that was Rachel. Okay. Sorry. I'm just trying to go through all the comments here. Did you do anything on the first year anniversary coming up on 2 years in May? So we kind of decided right away that we were going to do something. Olive Garden jumped out of this right away because Libby loved Olive Garden and she was obsessed with noodles. So we kind of knew right away that like Olive Garden would become part of our tradition. So we go there on the anniversary of the day she died and on her birthday. The first year, a friend of mine from work had given me a paper lantern to light. So we got together with our boys and we lit a paper lantern at night on that anniversary. So it was beautiful, but I have since learned that they're not that great for the environment. And I remember thinking as I saw it flying, like, what happens if this flies into a tree or something? It's like a flame. I don't know. It kind of freaked me out. But yeah, then I kind of heard they were bad for the environment. So that was when this year I started kind of thinking of other things to do. And that was where I came up with the stone idea. And I don't know about you, like, I love the stone idea. I feel like that perfectly encapsulates Libby's personality, and that's something she would love to hear that we're doing. And it's meaningful for us. So yeah, that is kind of how we came up with that. And then I think it's all about finding things that just remind you of your person. On her birthday this year, for the charity that we started in Libby's honor, Live Like Libby, we have started a basket bingo fundraiser to raise money. And we're now doing that on her birthday every year. So every year, and it's nice because like her dance friends come to that and it's raising money for dancers. And dance was like the most important thing in her life besides her family. And it just fits with her, raising money for a good cause, helping people, which she'd love to do. So it's just about, I think each person's thing will be individual based just on what your person was like and enjoyed. And it doesn't have to be anything huge and significant. It could be, making a meal that your person liked, or watching a movie that they liked or donating something to a charity in their honor. You know, there are a million different things that you can do. And I think just recognizing that and making sure that it's something meaningful to you that reminds you of your person is what's going to make it special.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't have to be anything, you know, like what we're doing. It can be their favorite meal was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Just have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich every day, or you know, on that anniversary. It can be something. Just again, I think if it's important to you, it's at the end of the day, it's helping us as the grievers, the people, you know, we lost. We're trying to just kind of help ourselves get through that day. So.
Well, I mean, grief is for the living. So it's more about us. Okay, kind of continuing this one. So my son was an older brother to my son. He's only 2 years younger. Oh, that's hard. So they were best buddies. How do I get my living son to open up to me? He hasn't talked about his feelings. I'm afraid he's burying his grief. Well, Tannis, we can relate to this one because our middle son is exactly the same way. And I wish I had magic advice to offer you with this one. But we have yet to really find anything that's worked for us. Our middle son, we took him to like 4 or 5 different therapists, and he didn't like any of them, didn't want to go, thought it was stupid, does not really ever talk to us about how he's feeling. Very withdrawn about the whole thing.
We did get a text this year that, you know, telling us, hey, thinking about you, hope you guys didn't have a rough day. And then a response for me was that he was struggling. You know, he had actually opened up that he was struggling a bit, which is more than.
Yeah, that was kind of shocking that he actually sent that. Yeah.
But again, it might just be time for him. You know, he might need more time. It's hard. I think the biggest thing you can do is just make sure your son understands that it's a safe conversation, that you're not going to judge him for however he feels about it. You know, for our son, I think he has survivor's guilt. You know, he would have been in the car typically, but took an extra shift at work. And I think he struggles with survivor's guilt a bunch, more than he's willing to admit.
Yeah. I think the age, I don't know how old your son is, but I feel like the age also contributes to that. You know, teenagers and young adults, just from all the research that I've done in the courses that I've taken, they are much less likely to open up to parents, and that's like a typical thing. And actually, I did find out that my son, 17. See, our son is 18. It is a rough age, and if it helps ease your mind at all, I did find out that our son talks to his friends. Yeah. He doesn't talk to us about it. And some of that is that he doesn't want to upset us. And he doesn't want to bring it up because he knows how, you know, hurtful it is to us, even though we can say a million times, like, we are a safe place. Feel free to talk to us anytime you want. We're super open about it. We talk about Libby all the time in front of him. So he knows that it's okay to talk to us, but he just does not feel comfortable bringing anything up with us. So, but he talks to his friends. And I do know that. So it's a possibility that he is working through things in his own way or with other people, and you're just not seeing it. So that is my hope. But even if he's not, teenagers, especially teenage boys, tend to internalize their feelings. So yeah, I wouldn't try not to worry too much. and there'll come a time when he can talk about things with you, I think. Yeah,
when he's ready, and when he, you know, comes to terms with, you know, what happened and everything. It'll definitely happen at some point. At least, I shouldn't say that. I don't know that for sure, but that's what we hope with Gray. You know, and Max is the same way for us. Honestly, he'll talk about it, but he doesn't talk about it a whole lot. But I think the larger thing for Max is he knows how much it upsets us, and I think he doesn't want to discuss it with us because he's afraid we're going to get upset, and he doesn't like seeing us crying or whatever else. And my fault, I cried too much. He probably was like, oh God, no, it's not comfortable.
No, I think that's a good thing for him to see.
No, I think it's a good thing for him to see, but I think he's still uncomfortable with it. He's 21, and it's still somewhat of an uncomfortable thing for him.
Yeah. Rachel says, okay, bye. Oh, you gotta go. Love you both. We've never met, but we have a connection because of our children. Yes, we do. It is the club that no one wants to be in, and I'm sorry that you were in it. What was that?
I think you must have come up top. I think you
did I?
Maybe I'm wrong.
Sorry, I'm scrolling back. Yeah, we kind of answered. This is 2 years. So, Tony from Grief, let's talk about it. Good morning. Good morning, Tony. Hope you're doing well. I have pictures of my mom on my phone just before she passed and after she passed. Every time I open my Photos app, that's what I see, her pale face and hands. I see that every day. Oh, pictures are, man. I have a love-hate relationship with modern technology for that reason, because we are bombarded every single day with pictures of Libby. And it's the same. I have pictures of my mom the day that she died, and I'm holding her hand, and her arm looks like a skeleton, and it's just a horrible thing to see. So yes, if you can, I talk a lot in my videos about doing like a digital detox and kind of getting rid of things that you don't need to see every day. If you could like block notifications and things like that, might be a good idea to just take a break for a little bit if it's bothering you. After a while, I was about to say you get desensitized to it, but you really don't. It's the ones that pop up that you're not expecting that are the worst.
I have had my Google Drive or Cloud OneDrive, I guess this is, that popped up 4 days ago, and I have not been able to slide it away. It's been hanging out there because it's a huge series of photos.
That's a great picture of her too.
That no, it's not going to open now that I clicked on it, but it's a huge series of photos, and it was shortly after Brooke and I had separated, and Libby just grabbed my camera and took a bunch of pictures of us sitting on the sofa, and there's probably 20 or 25 of them, and it's just I can't bring myself to close that right now. For whatever, and it's been up for 4 days, just sitting there on my phone. It's the only thing I can't close right now.
Yeah.
And I hate having things like hanging out on my phone, so it's a tough one. Yeah.
Pictures are hard.
Pictures are hard.
That's rough. Tina said, "Thank you. Thanks for your huge hearts to share your journey, your deep pain and bravery. You guys rock." Oh, thank you. To Eileen. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You know what? It's our pleasure. I feel like we do not talk enough about grief. And honestly, it helps us to talk about it too. One of the most important things in grief is just getting stuff out there and having somebody to talk to. So it just happens that like we're talking to people out in the interwebs, but it's helpful for us too. So I'm glad that it's helpful for other people. Okay, no more questions in the chat at the moment. If you do have any, feel free to drop them down there, but I'm going to keep going with the list of questions that we got from people on my social media accounts. So the next one is, are you taking any medication?
I do not. I've never taken any medication.
David never has. He is very anti-medication. I am currently I am on Zoloft, on a low dose of Zoloft. But I have pretty much been on that like my entire adult life. So that is not necessarily, I've struggled with depression forever. So that's nothing new for me. When Libby died, actually before Libby died. Yeah, because I went through the months where my dad died, then my stepmom died, then my mom got cancer, then Libby died. In that time period, I started having really bad panic attacks. So I went on medication for it was like anti-anxiety and panic attack meds. And then a couple weeks after Libby died, I talk about this very openly. I had an incident where I was thinking about walking out in front of the trucks by her accident site, and voluntarily enrolled myself in a day program at a mental health facility. And while I was there, they kind of tweaked my medicine. So I was on like the anti-anxiety, and they bumped up the Zoloft, and I was also taking Ambien to help me sleep because I wasn't able to sleep at all. And I was on those for a while. I took the anti-anxiety stuff like every day. It wasn't just when I had panic attacks. It was like a proactive thing. And then I would say probably the whole first year that I was on all three of those things. And then I started weaning myself off after the first year. So I stopped the Ambien first, and then I went on a lower dose of the two medicines I was on. And then I ended up stopping the anti-anxiety medicine pretty recently. It was over the holidays. Yeah, it was over the Christmas holiday. I stopped taking that because I had time off of work and I wasn't sure how it was going to affect me. And it was rough for about a week. It was a rough week, but then I sort of adjusted and I haven't gone back on that. So now I am just taking the low dose of Zoloft. So.
And just to clarify, I'm not against medication. I don't personally take medication, but I think medication is important for certain people in their journey. I think it's whether it's just to help you get balanced for a while. I always, for me personally, medication, I never want to have to rely on that to get through my day. And that's my fear, is that if I start something, I'm going to get to where I need it all the time. And I've never wanted to get there. But if I was bad enough that, I was struggling with some of the things that you've struggled with, I would certainly, think about doing medication. I'm just, whatever reason, I'm able to balance myself out, see the world in a way that I don't need it. But I think it is important for a lot of people, and I think it does help a lot of people.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those other things that people don't talk about, and I'm not sure why. Like, if there's just a taboo with it or whatever, like, I'm super open about it. Man, at that point after Libby died, like, it scared the crap out of me sometimes. Like, my heart was going, I felt like my heart was going to burst out of my chest. Like, my heart rate would go up. I would get sweat, like cold sweats, and be shaking. And it was scary. Like, it was really scary. And the medicine definitely helped just to kind of even that out. So I didn't have those like violent episodes where I was afraid I was going to stroke out or something. And then that scares you even more, So yeah, it was invaluable to me. So, so hopefully that was helpful. Yeah. I say take what you need. Don't take more than you need. My mom, I forget what my mom was on. My mom took all kinds of meds and was on it like her entire life. And I did not want to be like that. So I, did try when I felt like I was able to handle things. That was kind of why I started to wean myself off of things. Just because, kind of like you, I didn't want to be like reliant on it if I didn't need it. I don't want to like over medicate myself, but man, did it help when I needed it. Yeah. Okay, the next one. Can you function normally every day? I would say yes.
Yeah, you kind of have to.
Yeah.
In some ways, you manage your moments. You manage your moments. It's certainly like I have times during the day while I'm at work that I something pops up and it reminds me, and I struggle with that. But I've figured out ways to kind of take myself away from that situation, take a break, whatever it is, to kind of get myself composed again. So yes, I function normally most days. Brooke might question whether or not I function normally.
What does that mean?
I don't know, 30 seconds.
Well,
late.
yeah.
That's normal for me.
Yeah.
That's about a half an hour too late for you.
Yeah, it is.
Normal is what you know, depends on how you define normal. So it's the new normal for us.
Yeah. I overfunction, if that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I function too well as like a coping mechanism, I think, if I'm being honest.
Brooke struggles to enjoy a day.
I do.
If she fills her day with all these other things to keep herself occupied. But it's a struggle at times when I think you need some downtime.
Yes.
You don't allow yourself that downtime for whatever reason.
Truth. Truth. But as far as I got a name song package. As far as getting up and going to work and cooking meals and what it's like functioning on a daily basis. Yeah, and I don't think it's anything other than we really didn't have much of a choice. I mean, I had to go back to work. I had a month that I was able to take off because I used sick bank days at work. But then I had to go back and had bills to pay and a mortgage to pay and 2 boys still at home at that point to take care of and drive around. And I kind of had to keep doing things. So that was really why.
No.
Let's see. But I will say it's gotten easier.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's much harder when you're, not too far out from your loss. But as time goes by, I would say it's easier to function on a daily basis. Not that I don't want to say the grief gets easier. You still have the grief. I think you just learn how to live with it.
Yes. Like this year for me was a rough year. So if you're talking about normal, I was able to go to work. I was able to get work done, but was I at 100%? Not a lot of the time. Just mentally, I struggled big time this past year with everything. But I was still able to go. Was I as on top of my game as I should have been? No. And I just had a review with my boss the other day, and I told him as much. It was a bad year for me. Just mentally, I struggled with. So besides Libby, certain things that were going on in work too that just kind of, slowed me down a little bit and just didn't have me as focused as I should have been. But I was still able to do things. I just wasn't at my best.
Yeah,
I should say.
I think since this is a 2-year anniversary kind of thing, I will say what I noticed in the second year. The first year is kind of just survival. The second year, it kicks in like, this is going to be like this forever. Like, this is not going away. Like, this is it. I've lost my daughter. She's not coming back. And you have to learn to live with that giant hole in your heart. And just keep going with that. And so there's definitely, I know for me, there was a definite slump where it was like, holy shit, like I'm, it might get a little easier, but it's always going to be there. And now, like, this is my life. And you have that moment of like, oh, like, what's the point? Like, if I'm going to have this hole in my heart and this pain forever, like, what is the point of going on? So it was definitely wrestling with that a little bit for me. But I think the key there, at least for me, the key was finding something else to focus on, like finding a purpose. So the things that we do in honor of Libby gives me purpose. raising money for dancers, running Live Like Libby, the grief work that I do, writing my book, that kind of stuff. That's really what has gotten me through, is finding other things to live for. And I think helping other people is a great way to do that.
Yeah. I think what you're doing is great, especially for you. I mean, that's your personality is one that you need to kind of immerse yourself in, as you did, just learning as much as you could about grief. And now you're at that point where you're on the backside of it, and now you can share your insights and everything that you've learned, and that's what you do well. So,
Thanks.
With the book and everything else coming out, I think it's, it's going to be, it'll be good for you to be able to do that stuff. And for me, it's the Live Like Libby. That's, that's the thing I like the most is, the stuff we're doing with that. I'd like to do more, but I think this year was, I think the basket bingo will be better this year. We learned a lot last year, but we do, I think, want to add some more things throughout the year to help raise money and stuff like that as well. So that'll be stuff I kind of hopefully jump into a little more.
Yeah. Okay, so it was hiding in your phone. How do you do that? Because I don't want to erase the photos.
So mine is a OneDrive. Any photos that I take, I back up to multiple sites, whether it's Google Photos, OneDrive, Shutterfly. I've got stuff everywhere, so I get notifications all the time. So
yeah, I wasn't talking about deleting any photos. It's like I get Facebook memories that pop up, and I use Shutterfly, so Shutterfly pops up with memories. So those are the things that I've turned off, those notifications, so that they don't kind of hit me out of nowhere.
I don't. I get 3, 4.
Yeah. I don't know how you do that.
And some of them are, some of them are good, at a time I need them, and they're good memories, and they make me smile and laugh. And other times it just depends on where I'm at. They freaking punch me in the gut, and it is what it is. But I don't know. Me personally, I want all of those. I love being reminded of Libby every single day. So for me, it's, some days I don't get anything. I'll get pictures, but they're work pictures or something like that. And I'm disappointed a little bit. So,
really?
Yeah.
That's surprising. See, I'm the opposite. I do not like them popping up. I've said this before, like I set aside special time where I go through photos and videos when I'm here alone, because I know I'm going to cry and it's going to make me feel like shit. I know, like, I'm going to feel all the feels, so I do that at a particular time on my own. I hate when stuff pops up that I'm not expecting, because then it's just like, ugh, like it gives you, it's like that gut punch for me, and I like to be prepared. Unlike some people, I know I prepare for things, and when things happen and I'm not prepared for them, don't enjoy that as much.
I just wing it.
Yeah, you do.
At this point, life is, that's what it's about.
Oh, Gabrielle, thank you. I got a super sticker. I really, really appreciate that. That is so nice. Thank you for your support. So people can buy super stickers and like thank yous and stuff on YouTube. Okay. So that is, I just earned $13.99. So that together, and I just got a super thanks on a short yesterday. So that makes my total earnings for all the stuff that I do $23.99. Woo!
23.
It is 23. That's his favorite number. So yeah, unnecessary, but much appreciated. Thank you. Your shared messaging is very impactful. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Yes. If you guys weren't watching, we wouldn't be able to do this. So we're glad that it helps as well. We are already at 50 minutes and I still have questions. Should we just keep rolling?
Sure.
We can cut in. Actually, some of these we probably answered a little bit. So somebody asked, how will you keep Libby's memory alive? And we talked about, we do the rocks, we do the Live Like Libby charity to raise money for dancers. And honestly, pretty much every day I ask myself, like, am I making her proud? Like, am I doing things that she would appreciate, that she would have done? Everything that I do, like grief-wise, making videos and, you know, writing the book and all that kind of stuff, it's all because she would be proud, you know? And that's how I'm keeping her memory alive. Let's see. Have there been any positive changes or growth in your own lives that you can attribute to your grief journey?
Certainly for you.
Yeah, definitely. I'm doing things that I've always wanted to do, but never had the confidence to do, or never really had a reason. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but like, I've wanted to write a book my entire life, but never thought that I had anything important enough to say until I've gone through all of this grief. So, that is definitely a positive. It's given me a chance to do that. Another positive for me definitely is that I stress way less about things than I used to, because little things just don't even matter anymore.
Perspective.
Yeah. Huge amounts of perspective that I didn't have. I'm just rattling off my list of positives.
It's changed you fundamentally in good ways and bad ways, but a lot of positive things have come out. Unfortunately, you know.
Yeah.
We talk about
it sucks that it took something so terrible to change things.
I think that's a testament to you as well. To, you know, you've taken this tragedy and you've really kind of embraced the changes that you needed to make in your life, for you to be, you know, the version of yourself that you want to be. I think you felt so much pressure as a mom and as a wife to do certain things, and as a teacher to do certain things, and now perspective has given you, like, hey, it can all change tomorrow.
Yeah,
in such a fundamental way that, you know, I'm glad that you got that for yourself. I think I was getting there a little bit prior to you, but, you know, life is the moment. Enjoy the moment. You know, I kind of go back to a lot of our hikes that, you know, we went on hikes all the time with the kids. I did, specifically, especially after we separated. And I have so many hikes that we did, but I don't have a ton of pictures because I was just enjoying that moment. You know, I didn't take the time. I know. And that's what I'm saying. I think in the past we would be like, oh, we've got to pose for all these pictures and get all this stuff. And you kind of forget, you know, oh, it's got to be on Facebook and everybody's got to see how happy we are and whatever else. And it doesn't matter. All that matters is those three kids and the time that we spent together and the family. And that's what really matters. The small stuff matters, not some of this crap that we, you know, worry about that really has no effect on our life 5 years down the road.
Yeah. Truth. Let's see. How have your relationships with friends and family changed? You've gotten a lot closer with friends, I would say.
I don't think that I've gotten a lot closer with friends. I've not had my friend circle was always very small, but I think don't take this the wrong way, but when we were together, I didn't have friends. I really did not. So, and I don't really have a large group friend now. I have a lot of people that I'm acquaintances with, that I play soccer with, and I do that stuff with, but I've got two really good friends, Abby and Andy, that, you know, they've been great support for me. So, that's that from my side, friends, that's what's changed for me. I've come closer to a couple of people that, you know, and Andy's new to that group. Not since Libby. I really didn't know him a whole lot before Libby. But my family, that relationship really hasn't changed. My family was always, we were pretty tight, but we kind of do our thing where, we go long stretches without talking to each other, and that's how we roll. But they all love and whatever else. So for me, it hasn't changed. For you, it's you've lost most of them.
That's almost impossible for me to answer. Friend wise, like I have people who are just amazingly supportive to me. But I've realized, I guess, with loss, how important it is to have people that you can be honest with and be yourself with, and you don't have to put up a front. Like people that you can. I walk with my friend Bianca every week, and she'll listen to every mundane detail of my life. And anytime I need to talk about Libby, she's there for it. And it's awesome. And I'd rather have one friend like that than like a million friends that I feel like I have to be someone else or can't dive in and be the real me. So yeah, family, my family's like non-existent. I lost my dad and my mom and my stepmom, even though I didn't really ever talk to her. So my family has just kind of been obliterated. And
I don't think your family changed, though. I think it was just never real tight.
We were never super close to begin with, and we're still. It's one of those things. We love each other. We're family, but we're still not super close. Even my brothers and I, even with all the loss in our family, everybody kind of does their own thing, and it's sad. I wish it wasn't like that. I've always wanted it to be different, honestly. But it's just kind of how we were raised, I think, and it's unfortunate. Do not recommend. So really, honestly, David and Max and Grayson, that's my family. Even though we're not married anymore, that's still, he's the father of my kids. So I still kind of look at you and the boys as like the boys, obviously, but that's like my family. When I say we're having like a family dinner, like that's the family that I'm talking about, even though it's like weird, it's like a bizarre situation, but yeah, normal rules don't apply when you go through shit like that. So I don't think
we're friends. I mean, I think, again, like you said, we're family, and I'll always kind of look at you that way as well. But we lean on each other a lot. It's you've always said, like, I'm sorry, I always come over, but it helps me too. I mean, it doesn't matter who it is. It's, as weird as the whole thing is with us divorced and whatever else, it's still a relationship that is supportive and helps both of us, I think.
We've known each other from junior high, so it's
okay.
It's hard to find somebody else that's known you for that long. Okay. And then, have you found any resources, books, or groups that have helped you?
Yes, there's a great one coming out called Grief Sucks, But Your Life Doesn't Have to. It's by this wonderful author called Brooke, Carlock. And go get it.
Thank you. Shameless plug. I hope it's helpful. I don't know. People have told me that it's good. But yeah, it's coming out soon. Actually, I will drop the news here first for people who are here. April 6th. April 6th, I think, is.
Misinformation.
I know. I hope it's either the 6th or the 9th, whatever the Tuesday is. I think it's 6th. That is the release date of my book. So it is ready to go. It will be available pretty soon for pre-order. Grief sucks, but your life doesn't have to. And it is a no BS guide to getting through. You don't get through grief. Surviving grief and hopefully finding a little bit of hope in your future. As far as resources and things that have helped me the past year, I've read so many I can't even narrow it down. If you're on YouTube, I really like Jo McRogers. She was a guest on one of my shows. And book-wise, Oh my gosh. I've always said my favorite grief book that I ever read, if you are early in grief, or even if you're not early in grief, it is called The Irreverent Grief Guide by Elizabeth Kupferman. She is awesome. And that was the book that helped me the most when I was in my early grief. Just very no nonsense, kind of like me, swears. If you don't like swearing, you won't like either of our books. Because we're just both very honest and real. So that was the one that really helped me. And yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all of the questions that we have. Last comment here. It's a good idea to set up a special time. Yeah, that's, if you can. I mean, it's difficult to control those emotions if something hits you. I mean, by all means, let it out. I don't ever try to like hold anything in, but I'll use, like, for my videos, I use, you know, videos and pictures of Libby in some of my videos, and I know when I'm going to be looking for them that it's going to hit me, so I just kind of set aside a time where I'm going to go through those photos and figure out which ones I want to throw into a video or, you know, post on social media, and I always prepare myself ahead of time, so I know that it's coming. So I know you don't. You just well, that's why we say grief is individual. Do what is best for you. There's no right or wrong.
No, it's a journey.
It's
not unfortunately something we're all in, but make it your own and do it at your own pace. And if you can find somebody that you can really talk to, that is a huge part of it. I think, you know, we don't talk about it enough in our society about grief and just a lot of different things, mental health as well. Those are all things that should be more normalized discussions, and they're just not right now. So
yeah,
let's start talking about it.
Yes, let's talk about this shit. All right. Oh my gosh, we've been on over an hour, so we are going to let you guys go. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you have any more questions or anything else you want to talk about, or if you have any ideas that you want to see, you know, people as guests, things like that, any topics you want me to cover, please let me know. I am happy to try to find people.
Woo! I don't know what happened. That was really weird. Everything just kind of shut down. But Lori asked, did you end up deciding to self-publish your book? Yes, Lori, I did. The process of traditional publishing would have taken me about another year to do, and I didn't want to wait that long. But I will tell you, it is a challenge, self-publishing. It is a lot of work, a lot more work than I was expecting, but I am excited about it. So yeah, stay posted. If you want to, you can join my newsletter at brookecarlock.org. If you get on my newsletter list, then you get all the notifications. I'm going to do a cover reveal coming this week. So you can kind of stay on top of the book news and when everything's being released and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it is not, I just checked on Amazon to pre-order. It's not there yet. I will let you know. So yeah, you can either go to brookecarlock.org and sign up for the updates on the newsletter, or just watch my social media. It will be probably in about 2 weeks that it will be available for pre-order. So thank you. Thank you for watching. All right. Thanks everyone. We have taken up enough of your time, but we appreciate it so much that you are watching, and I will see you next week. So my guest next week is my brother. If you've heard me talk about my brother, yeah, you can see David's face there. You will want to tune in for this one, because this is the brother.
This should be a shit show.
That told me 4 months after Libby died that I should get over it. When are you going to get over this already? He is a shove his feelings down to his toes person. So I am super excited. I cannot even believe that he agreed to be on the show, honestly. So you will want to tune in for that one.
Tony, check this out. It'll be a
yes. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So tune in next week. I will see you guys later. Sending love and hugs as always. Thank you so much. Bye.
We all know that grief can leave us feeling alone, unmotivated, and even hopeless. That's why I'm so proud to have partnered with Help Text to provide a full year of ongoing expert support to my subscribers. Help Text has individualized support for caregivers, people dealing with a difficult diagnosis, or grieving the loss of a loved one, pregnancy, or even a pet. You answer questions at sign up to get specific support just for you, including 2 texts per week and even extra texts on special or difficult days like birthdays or anniversaries. And the best part is, if you sign up using the site linked in my description, you'll get a 10% discount off of your subscription. Thank you so much to Help Text for offering this deal to my subscribers. When life gets hard, getting support from Help Text is easy.